UFC Fight Night Amanda Lemos vs Virna Jandiroba has just taken place, with Steve Garcia moving to a 4-fight finish streak in the UFC, Hyder Amil hitting about 3,000 significant strikes in the span of 10 seconds, and Virna Jandiroba cementing herself for a title shot in that strawweight division. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you a recap of every single fight on the card and all the card's best moments. Kicking it off with the first fight of the card, Mohammad Usman versus Petersen. So to kick off this fight, Usman was doing pretty decently well in the first round. He was circling out well from Petersen's power shots, and he was using those quick straight shots I was talking about in the predictions, like the jab and the two, which he was using to his advantage because he was the faster striker here. But Thomas just gained a lot more confidence, just especially from that Pogues fight altogether. I mean, throughout this fight, he made sure that he was dictating his pace. He was landing the heavier shots, and he mixed up his shots a lot better than Usman did. And he got takedowns in there as well, and control time too. So, I mean, he just played a very well-rounded game overall, and he improved his head movement so much more compared to that Pogues fight, which really threw me off when it came to this prediction. He just improved very well from fight to fight. And the issue with Usman in this fight is he just coasted way too much through like the second to the third round, and he just didn't show enough urgency in that third round to get it done. So definitely a well-deserved comeback win for Petersen. And moving on, Luana Carolina versus Lucie Pudilova. So I'm going to say, honestly, this fight was better than the last fight against with Usman and Petersen. I feel like this one was just a lot more fast-paced. There's actually a lot more action in it. And honestly, Pudilova, even though she lost, she did do a good job of pressuring and mixing up the takedowns in the fight. But Carolina's punches and body kicks just had more weight behind them when they were engaged in the exchange between each other. And Pudilova, she just didn't make it dirty enough and like close the distance to really, you know, cut Carolina off and make her struggle, because Carolina was just a lot better in that kickboxing range, and she was just more active overall. So yeah, it's a pretty fair fight for Luana Carolina to win. Moving up, Loik Radzhabov versus Trey Ogden. The first round was pretty much all Ogden. I mean, you can see from the control time on the screen, 9 minutes and 47 seconds, and that was really the aim of the game in this fight when it came to Trey Ogden's, you know, tactics, and which was completely fair enough. He timed a beautiful double leg takedown and secured a body triangle in that first round, so he just drained out the clock for like 4.5 minutes. And Radzhabov had nothing, had no answers for him on the ground. But worst of all, Radzhabov had no answers when it came to takedown defense. He was dog shit when it came to his takedown defense, which was very surprising to me. And Trey Ogden, just, you know, more credit to him. I mean, he just played the right game against a guy that has so much muscle density and power on the feet by taking him down and showing that, I mean, Radzhabov just showed that his takedown defense is absolutely non-existent. And then when it came later through the fight, through to the third round, Radzhabov was able to reverse the position, which he would have known that he was 2 rounds down, but I don't know why he didn't let Ogden back to his feet. That was his chance to get Ogden out of there, and he needed to KO him, and he didn't. He just laid on the ground on top of him and just started hitting him with pot shots. So yeah, a really big fight IQ difference here, just a big issue for Loik Radzhabov in this fight, but nothing to take away from Ogden. A well-deserved win for him. Moving up the card, Miranda Maverick versus Dione Barbosa. As predicted with the striking, Maverick just really capitalized on those exchanges a lot better than Dione Barbosa did, and especially with the top control opportunities. I will say, like, when we look at Barbosa, the only thing that she really did was she had a very nice throw, like judo throw in the second round, but when she got it to the ground, I mean, Maverick was just doing a very good job of keeping herself safe and then transitioning out of any of those bad positions that she was actually in. And Maverick, I will say, looking at this fight, I mean, she really showed a good game, because she was was listening to pretty much all of the instructions that her corner was screaming out to her, and she just kept herself very, very safe while controlling Barbosa on the ground. So Barbosa was pretty much obsolete in anything that she could actually do to Maverick. So very, very clean and very good win for Maverick, and she should be getting a top 15 crack again after a performance like that. And I think she should fight someone like a Ariane Lipski or a Casey O'Neill after UFC 305 for her. But yeah, overall, Miranda Maverick did have a very good performance. Moving up, Brian Kelleher versus Cody Gibson. Finally, I'm very happy with this performance. I got perfect prediction. I called the arm triangle choke in the prediction video. When it came down to this fight, I mean, Gibson outclassed Kelleher a lot more than I actually thought he would. He just outclassed him in pretty much every single position. And that's just down to Cody Gibson. As I said in the prediction, he just has better performances overall. And I think he's just naturally just a better fighter than Kelleher anyway. And he's bloody big for a bantamweight too. So he was doing well in terms of keeping that distance. He was managing the distance very well. But then when it came in close and it came to the grappling exchanges, he was just winning all of those too. So yeah, he looked pretty much flawless. I mean, there was like the guillotine attempt from Kelleher at one point, but he just transitioned out extremely well, and he didn't really look like there was any actual danger. So a great win for Cody Gibson. And moving on to the feature prelim, JeongYeong Lee versus Hyder Amil. Holy shit. I don't even know what to even say about this fight, honestly. Like, there wasn't much of it. It was just a insane output from Amil. I mean, from both of them, to be fair. But Hyder Amil, he landed a 38 strike combination in the span of like 10 seconds. That is insane. And he just does not slow down. He's a complete animal. And he progressed so much from that first fight. I mean, he just shows that it's just not like a one and done thing for him. He shows that he can be consistent in his output on the feet and just his forward pressure. He just looked very, very impressive, and can completely understand why he is 10-0 and he is undefeated at this point. And Lee, you gotta give it to Lee, to be fair. In a 38 strike combination, the fact that he did not drop like a sack of shit against a guy like Amil that has that much power as well, that is very impressive, and I'm sure he'll be back without a doubt. I had him in my predictions, but yeah, I'm not mad about it, honestly, with how this fight went. It was just pure entertainment, and I'm very keen to see what Amil is going to be like when he moves forward, and see if there's anyone that can really give him any form of real adversity when it comes to any part of the game, because he's pretty well rounded. So very good performance from him, and I'm sure Lee will be back. Moving on to the main card, Superboy Choi, let's fucking go. Honestly, I felt like this was just his time, honestly, to come back. Like, after that Nelson performance, he really deserved the win. I mean, he basically won that Nelson performance in his last fight. If it wasn't for the headbutt and the point deduction, he would have won. And it's just really good seeing him back after having that much time off and just coming back and showing that he's still got it. I mean, he did a very good job on the ground when Algeo got him there, and then obviously the power. I mean, you cannot doubt Dooho Choi's power. I mean, that's why he is so loved. He's 1-2, he's got that piston in the right hand, and yeah, he sat Algeo on his ass. But you know, I'm not taking away everything from Algeo. Algeo had a very, very good first round and arguably won it, to be honest. I mean, he did a great job of level changing, and you know, caused Choi some issues on the ground there, caused him some stuff, you know, made Choi go like hunt for submissions, which we'll pretty much never see. He had 3 submission attempts, but it's good to see that Dooho Choi could mix up his game. But biggest thing from Algeo 100% is that spinning elbow that he landed straight on Choi's not on his chin, on his nose, just busted like straight into his nose. Like, and I thought especially from the slow-mo replay, thought he was going to drop without a doubt. I mean, it was clean elbow, but when Choi finds his range, his power is just way too much. And the difference between Choi's power and Algeo's power in this fight was just so blatantly obvious, and it did look like he cooked Algeo's orbital bone. I'm not 100% sure on what it was, but it seemed like that was the case, and Algeo just dropped like a sack of shit. I mean, there was no way he was getting back up. So it was a great call from the ref, but an absolutely amazing performance performance from Choi, and I'm so happy that not only that he's back in the win column, but that the Korean zombie in his corner is also back in the win column. So just an amazing win and positive vibes for that whole training camp overall in that team. Moving up, Cody Durden versus Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva, holy shit, that uppercut was from fucking Satan himself. God damn. He was like, Silva was getting pumped like the entire fight. Cody looked fantastic. Like, this is a frustrating prediction to lose. Cody Durden was so confident. He was looking fantastic. I mean, he was out transitioning, out landing on the feet. I mean, he stunned Silva like 3 times, and he had 3 submission attempts as well. So I mean, Cody Durden, it was his show, but you just can't take away from Bruno Silva's power. I mean, this guy, like, being like 4 foot tall, I mean, he just generates so much power. He's got a low center of gravity. He just flings, and as frustrating as it is, you just can't take it away from him. I mean, he gave Cody Durden his first KO loss, which is extremely impressive. And honestly, Bruno Silva had one of the best comeback wins we've seen this year, without a doubt. But I will say, man is not getting Brandon Moreno like he said that he wanted in the post-fight speech. He's not getting that, but he definitely should be getting a top 15 fight now. Moving up, Kurt Holobaugh versus Kaynan Kruschewsky. Honestly, this fight was fantastic as well. I'm honestly having to take back saying that this card is absolute dog shit, because from what we've seen, especially throughout the main card, and obviously that feature prelim was a bit dusty at the start, but coming up through the card, this card's actually delivering a lot better than it looked like on paper. That's credit to Holobaugh especially. I mean, he just dogged it. He made it ugly. He made sure he played his game. He dictated the pace, and his durability is ridiculous. It's completely understandable why he's only been finished once in a submission and once by KO TKO. Extremely durable fighter. And I will say credit to Kaynan and his chin. I mean, he took some shots. He took some big shots from Holobaugh, and he held up for the 3 rounds after that KO from Elvis Brenner, which was so brutal in his last fight. So you got to give him credit there. He did have that heart there, and he really actually, he did have a pretty good performance, but obviously not taking away from Holobaugh. Holobaugh 100% deserved this win, and that's just down to that cage pressure and that mix up of the striking tools and really getting ahead with that dirty boxing. Kurt Holobaugh just really took it there. There was a bit of lapse in fight IQ when it came to the second round though, because he hurt Kruschewsky bad. Like he could have got Kruschewsky out of there without a doubt, but he went for the takedown instead. But Holobaugh's submission defense is there as well, so I mean, you can't take it away from him. He stuffed the 2 submission attempts from Kaynan. And yeah, Holobaugh, honestly, credit to him, a very good performance, especially in front of his family and that screaming kid of his. Moving up, perfect prediction for the new co-main event, Steve Garcia versus SeungWoo Choi. This just wasn't it for Choi. I said it in the predictions, Garcia is just too powerful, and the biggest issue that's emphasized with it is Choi's brawler kind of style. It plays right into Garcia's game. So I was very confident that this was going to be a quick finish, and Steve is now on a 4-fight finish streak, which is the highest in the whole entire UFC roster at the moment, regardless of division. So whether it's going to be at featherweight, whether it's going to be at lightweight, I mean, he is going to be a very big threat moving forward. And I will say, if Dan Ige isn't fighting Yair at the Sphere, give him Dan Ige. That would be a certified banger for the Sphere. And with Garcia performing like this, performance after performance after performance, he should be getting what he wants. And moving on to the main event, Amanda Lemos versus Virna Jandiroba. Great performance from Virna Jandiroba, and it's why I picked her. I mean, I'm saying it now, even though she is on the older side, she's 36 years old now, Virna Jandiroba has an extremely good chance of taking out Wei Li in a title fight. I'm saying it now. I think she genuinely does. I mean, her grappling is just on another level. And with that grappling being such a high level, I would absolutely love to see her fight Tatiana Suarez, because those ground transitions would just be absolutely nuts. And when it comes to this fight, I mean, her game plan was executed perfectly. I mean, she did not give Lemos the time or space to whip out those very powerful combinations that she does have on the feet, and Lemos was obviously just outmatched on the ground. And as entertaining as I will say that Lemos is as a fighter, I mean, especially on the feet, obviously, she just doesn't have the ground game to deal with these fighters at the top of the strawweight division, and I just don't see her getting a title fight again, realistically. And nothing to take away from Virna Jandiroba's win. Jandiroba, honestly, a fantastic performance, pretty much just walk through Lemos at this point, and yeah, she'll be getting a title fight. Now moving on to the fight card awards, kicking it off with the fighter to watch, Hyder Amil. 10-0 and has looked pretty much flawless in the UFC so far. I mean, he is very well rounded, as I said in his fight recap. I mean, he has a great gas tank. He's got the speed, he's got the strength, and well, obviously in this fight, he's got the power as well. And yeah, just a great overall performance from him, showing that he is game, and I'm very keen to see what's coming from him next, if he has any performances that are even remotely like that. Now moving on to finish of the night, Bruno Silva. Even though I had Durden, I can't even be remotely mad about Silva's performance and that comeback. It was an extremely entertaining fight. He dug deep and got that finish perfectly after getting fucking pumped for 2 rounds. And yeah, just an amazing comeback from him, honestly. There's nothing else I can really say. He just had a fantastic performance. I mean, he came back, he got wobbled, so there was multiple submission attempts. He just did a fantastic job of digging deep and getting the finish of the night, in my opinion. Now moving on to the top 3 card moments, kicking it off with 3rd place, Hyder Amil versus the Lee fight. Going back to it, I mean, for what we got of this fight, it was just pure carnage. I mean, both of these guys are extremely game, and the strike speed between both of them, nothing to take away from Lee, was insane. Like, they are both very game, they both have power, they both have the speed, they're both very entertaining, and it was definitely one of the best fights of the night. And it'll be really good to see where Hyder Amil goes from here, carrying that 10-fight win streak momentum. And moving on to 2nd place, got to give it to the Bruno Silva comeback, honestly. Got to rewind to it. I mean, as I said with the finish of the night, the comeback from Silva was just extremely impressive. I mean, after having 3 submissions attempted on him that were pretty tight, and also getting wobbled like 3 to 4 times, he came back with an uppercut that honestly was so clean, considering that he was just dominated for 2 rounds straight, and he just came back with that uppercut that was ridiculously clean. And honestly, you have to give him one of the best moments on this card. He was just fantastic in terms of that comeback, and he really needs to be looking at that top 15 shot now if he's showing that kind of heart in his performances. And moving on to the number 1 spot, which you will not be able to guess, no chance in hell. Dooho Choi back in the win column, no doubt about it. Got to put my boy Choi in the number 1 spot, honestly. After being forced to have such a sporadic career from, there was lingering injuries to then serving his country as well. I mean, it is really just impressive to see that he got to show out so much in this fight. I mean, he faced some adversity in the first round as well, but that power does not leave. He got it done. And honestly, I'm just so happy to see that he is back in the octagon again. And yeah, just a fantastic performance for him. And yeah, keen to see what he has next. And if you want to see more MMA content, check out my video on the top 5 title defenses in UFC history, which I've just got up here on the screen now. And please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more MMA content. And if you've enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in the next one.